So spring has sprung, and this brings us to a time of year where we're playing a lot of different sports that require us to do a lot of rotation. And with that rotation can bring about imbalance, which can lead to injuries, irritations, aches, pains, or just dysfunction in general. So today we're going to talk about some easy exercises that you can do prior to getting out on the baseball field, the softball field, or out for a round of golf to help warm up your body and prepare it for these different rotational movements so that we can avoid those irritations and injuries and perform better while we're out there. All right, lawnmower pulls are going to help us again with that rotational movement that we want to emulate from the sports we're talking about here today. So we're going to get into a staggered stance with our feet, with our one leg facing towards the attachment of the band. We want that band again attached in a lower position. And a good way to do this is we're going to take our opposite hand or our back hand and we're going to loop it through the band, kind of like a wristwatch, and then grab back on top of the band here so it's nice and secure. Again, with this, we want to get a nice rotation, get a little bit of a stretch, and then pull all the way through, kind of just like we're starting that lawnmower on a Sunday mowing our lawn. So banded RDLs are a great movement to get our glute muscles activated, as well as providing a good stretch for our hamstrings, and we will get some activation of our abdominal musculature too as well. So for this movement, we're gonna have again, a nice light band mounted on lower position, and we're gonna have you back up. So you're gonna have two hands on the band here. I would say let's loop the hands through like this, kind of like a handle, if you will, okay? We want the feet about shoulder width apart, and then the knees are going to stay with a slight bend. We don't want to be completely locked out, just a nice soft knee we call it. And then from this position, we're going to focus on hinging at the hips, dropping the butt backwards, and we're going to hinge forward. And then from that, we're going to get a little bit of that stretch here. Once we feel that stretch, we're going to engage those glute muscles and drive the hips forward, bringing the body back upright.
The movement that we're discussing right now is a seated thoracic twist, and we're working on really isolating that thoracic spine in this seated position. Find yourself a chair or a bench. Come forward enough where your feet are planted straight on the floor and you have good stabilization. What I like to do is I like to take a block and pin it between my knees. This way I have that focus point to make sure that my belly button and my lower thoracic spine doesn't rotate with my lower lumbar spine, I apologize. Doesn't rotate with my thoracic spine. We want to keep that isolated and as straightforward as possible. So make sure you have yourself at the nice 90 degree. Give yourself that input of squeezing that block together and keeping that belly button facing forward. It's a very, very small movement just to the side and then back to the center again. The thoracic spine does not allow for much rotation due to its connection point to the ribs, but a lot of the sports and activities that we do in the springtime and in the summer as we start to have the weather warming up requires this motion. So this is a great movement for you to be able to focus on getting that mobility in, that warm up down before we start playing, jumping around, and doing all those fun activities throughout the spring and the warmer months. So this is our stabilized thoracic twist. This is a great one to utilize as an activator and a warm-up before any type of spring sport or rotational activity that you're doing. What you want to do is you want to grab your baseball bat, a broomstick, or your golf club, and you want to place it behind your shoulders, right about where they meet at the top. Relax your arms to the side. What you want to do is you want to find a fixed point for your body to focus on, hinge at the hip, soft bend at the knee, and then without moving the lumbar spine in any way, what you want to do is you want to just slowly rotate as one unit from one side, back to the center, and then to the opposite side and back to the center. This warms up that thoracic rotation for things like long throws from the outfield or for very major swings for that far ninth hole.
So Woodchoppers is a good rotational based exercise. This is going to help us to engage our core, activate some of that rotational movement that we want to simulate, and really get our body stabilized for those movements in a good way. So we're going to start with a light band up mounted on a higher spot. So Dr. Mackenzie is going to go down into a kneeling position, just like this. Yep. We're going to bring that band over. You're going to hold this just like you would a wood handle on like an axe. So we're going to hold it with two hands here, and then we're going to bring this up just a little bit. Let this arm relax for me. Yep. And then we're going to pull all the way across our body down towards our other hip, right across just like this. Yep. And then back up and back down. We want to feel a little bit of a stretch at the top with some rotation, but we don't want to over rotate here. And we should really feel like we're really engaged as we get to the bottom of the movement there.